Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is Tim Gillette with the Tim Gillette Show, and we are back with another great guest. So today I'm lucky because today I actually get to meet Megan DiMartino because she actually pays attention to some of the people I know. This is why I did this thing, so I could teach and introduce you to some interesting people. 100 interviews in 30 days. Now, I've got 100 friends. Well, sometimes I wonder if I have 100 friends. But anyway, beside that, all right, I know that I have friends who know at least 100 people. Still, you don't want to just keep bringing the same people on season after season on your podcast. You want to find new people. People are doing something different out there, all right? They're not just Tim interviews another coach today. No, it's bringing people up there. And sometimes they're people I don't know. So today's one of those cases, all right? Believe it or not, all right, within a half day's drive, we can be to visit each other's house, I found out, all right? Because we live in the same state, I found out. But we've traveled the world, both of us. So I'm going to get to know Megan DiMartino today, and I'm going to get to know her live on screen, just as you're going to get to know her. We're going to find out about who she is and how she can help you together. I hope you're ready, because this is going to be a journey. Here we go. Hey, Megan, how are you?
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Or I should say thank you. I'm so used to doing podcasts saying welcome.
Well, or you know what I mean? You're welcoming me into your house, and I'm welcoming you into my house today.
That's true.
That's the way we're doing it. So, Megan, what are you doing these days, when we're stuck at home?
Well, actually, I'm sitting in the boutique, Tim, of the Novitas Spa and Medical Rejuvenation Clinic. So I am here where normally this is a busy, busy, busy place, but we're doing podcasts, and the door is open for people to come in and buy the Novitas Spa clinical products, gift cards, but just to be here is important.
All right. So how far is your office from your house that you have to travel every day, or is it attached?
No, it's not attached, but I could walk. I'm in the, as they call, Old Town of Georgetown, which is 20 miles north of Austin. Yep. And so I live in Old Town.
Yep. I've actually spoken at the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce once.
Really?
Yes, yes. That's going back like many, many years. It's been, but yeah, I know exactly where the area you're in. So it's cool. So, I mean, you know what I mean? You chose this time where you're a spa. You may not be able to lay hands on people, but you're like, that doesn't mean I'm staying at home. I'm still going to get out and do things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you, because I've been listening to you, and, since we discussed coming on your show, and you made a comment that you're busier today than you have been, because not only this 100 podcast challenge, but also people who are at home are looking for help getting ready for when the doors do open. So I could see why you are busier than you normally are. So it's the same difference. I made a decision when I was forced to close the doors. I've been open in this business right here for 15 years. And I've been manufacturing clinical result-oriented skincare since 1992. So 28 years. And so it's the first time I've ever been told I have to close the doors. I mean, we're closed on Sundays and we're closed on national holidays. But other than that, we are open. And as I say on our website, we're open 24 hours, for gift cards and the like. So it's a different dynamic. So I made a decision that I was going to just roll with it and really do things that I've been wanting to do, but haven't had the time to really dig in and do, which is a podcast every day.
So, I mean, so let's get into that a little bit. All right. Because you can't do what you normally do. All right. But let's talk about what your day's like. All right. Now. All right. I know what it's going to be. We'll get into what it's going to be when people start coming back in. But what are you doing now? What's a full day look like to you?
Well, first off, my day has really changed very little. I aspire, I should say, to a morning routine. And so I get up fairly early in the morning. And I don't know if you know Glenn Lundy and his Morning 5, or the Rise and Grind, hashtag Rise and Grind.
I've heard that name, yeah.
Yeah, you need to. He should be on your show. He's a great, great guy. And so he has a show, a very unique show every morning. For us in Central, it's 4:30. So that's a little challenging every day. But I try to be up at 5:30 and I do my, gratitude and goal journal and prayer work and, the type of reading scripture, make my coffee. And then I'm not the best at doing exercise every day, but in these last month, I should say, I've been getting out and walking a lot. So because I don't have to be down here at, 9 o'clock to open the doors, so to speak. But so therefore I take a little liberty, and I've been putting that exercise in. But then I'm on the phone and I'm talking about now. You asked me about now. I'm doing the same type of work I do every day because I have several businesses. So, and they're not predicated on being here, meaning I have a manufacturing of clinical skincare products, and the products are sold on Amazon as well as obviously here, but also throughout the United States. And we do some exporting to salons and spas and medical spas. So there is that dynamic. And I do a lot of e-blasting and now podcasting. And also, Tim, I have a staff. And I really recognized early on that it was important to stay present with them. And so we're doing Zoom calls 3 times a week. So the team gets together. And then one of the podcast structures that I set up is what's called the Pop-Up Shop, bringing the Novitas Spa to you. And so on Tuesday and Thursday, there's one gal each day, and so we rotate and make a plan of what we're going to speak about and demonstrate, because one gal did eyelash strips because no one can go to the salon to have, or not just the salon, but eyelash extensions. And so we're trying to bring things and make things fun. So just being creative and thinking in the box, out of the box, and around the box for everyone.
So Megan, would you say that even though business may have stopped, marketing doesn't stop?
Never. Never. I'm from New York, Tim, and I would say never.
Yeah,
never. So never.
Yeah, you get it. I mean, and I've had people, again, I'm in the, content creation, and they ask me, well, Tim, I shouldn't market it this time. I'm like, Charmin's still running ads. Tide's still running ads. Why aren't you?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And it's also, I heard you say this, that one of your mentors is Zig Ziglar. I cannot tell you how impactful Zig has been to me over my career. But I do, excuse me, what's called Motivation Monday. And I choose a quote, and then that's kind of the theme through the week. And I shared on Monday, and it wasn't the quote of the week, but about Zig saying, that it's not, happiness is not a when or where, but it's a here and now. So it's happiness is not predicated on when the doors open of your business, or the social distancing is down. Who knows what is going to happen, but the doors will open. So it's not predicated on, when I take my next trip or my XYZ, it's a here and now. So if we do not plan for down there, the opening of the door we will be SOL.
Yeah. So, well, you know what I mean? You're right. You're planning for down the road, but you brought up a neat point that I want to come back to real quick. Okay. You talk about you're talking with your team. All right. So you've got employees right now. How are they doing? And tell me some of the other things that you're doing to go, hey, let me keep your spirits up. Times are down.
Well, each person has a different story and a different dynamic. There's several, single moms, but they're different ages, and they have different kids. That the kids are different ages, so their stories are different. And some, so it really predicates on each person's dynamic. But what I have seen from week to week, because the last day we were open was March 21st. It was a Saturday. And so the first week was kind of like, yay, we have, a week off. We can, do whatever, kick back. But then second week, I could see that if I wasn't engaging with them, they would be on the borderline of depressed. And it's really about continuing to just feed them hope and possibilities, because we do a lot, Tim, here. We do everything from traditional spa treatments to clinical and medical treatments. And so each person has a different license structure. And so their focus of what they do here is somewhat different, but we're all a team member. So like today, we had a call at 1:00, and I was preparing for this and a few other things. So I said, talk amongst yourselves, and as I was doing some things, and I could hear them, and they were all rallying each other, checking in with each other, talking with each other about what was going on in their lives. So communication is vital. You don't have to touch someone or be in their space, but communication is vital. So, and then this pop-up shop, they're really enjoying it. They're looking forward to it. They're conversing with each other about it, ideas, marketing of it. So you can go on our Facebook and see each gal that has been on, and I feature them, I tell a little bit about them, and I interview them like you're doing with me, asking them to share about themselves, because everyone has their own story. And so it's just been really, really good, really good.
So yeah, I mean, it's great. I love that. All right, but this pop-up shop idea that you're doing, did this come about from being in this time?
No, I basically started the pop-up shop. I'm an esthetician myself.
Okay.
And I'm a product developer. And so I'm a communicator and an educator. Before I started this spa in 2005, the products were exclusively sold through wholesale beauty distributors throughout the United States. So I moved to Texas, by the way, just to give you a backstory, from New York in '87 to Fort Worth, Texas. So this New York girl moved to Fort Worth, Texas to work for a division of Alcon Laboratories.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I took that job specifically, well, I was offered the job, but as national sales and marketing director for this hairline that they were trying to kick off because they had bought a small lab. And so I took that job, though, because I knew I was able to interface with very sophisticated chemists and learn a lot, because I ultimately knew I wanted to do a skincare line. So I was with them for about 5 years and then left in the end of '90 and launched my own skincare line in '92.
Okay.
And so, so back to your question, I have a lot of information. And so I'm an educator and a communicator. And so I started with my podcast structure, a little tinge of this pop-up shop, and so it was there. But then I said to myself, this is the perfect opportunity to bring these very, very, very talented ladies into this and have people really get to know them. They have a very, very secure client base, but everyone should know Gigi. Everyone should know Melissa. Everyone should know Andy and Sarah and so forth. So I felt this was the perfect time to promote them, so that our guests, our patients, can get to know these gals as well as their hearts and themselves, but also their expertises, what they do.
But in a way, though, also, I mean, their expertise, but it also makes people like go, I want to go get my treatments done there, so I want to be on her podcast. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I would love you to be on this podcast.
It gets them to want to come and get treatments for you, because it thinks that, like, well, maybe she'll market me.
Exactly.
Are you getting that for in there too?
Yes, it's funny that it's not funny, but but interesting. Today, because this is evolving, I'm starting a new podcast, and it's called Face Facts, Unique. Face Facts, Unique. What's the word? Unique experts. Yes.
Okay. Unique experts. Oh yeah, I love it.
Because I want to do exactly what you just said. Is not just have Tim Gillette and Ken Walls and Glenn Lundy, which I do want, but I also want people who are like my little producer gal right here, Elizabeth Hauser.
Maybe you should make her stick her nose on camera. I'm just saying.
Here's her nose. She does all my graphic work, and we work very closely together. So I want to promote she and her business, you see. But anyway, we did, she created the graphics for this, And I've gotten a response from some very, talented people saying, I want to be on your podcast. Yes. So it's a really cool thing. I'm very excited about it all.
So yeah, so you moved down here from New York, all right? I moved from Philadelphia in 1998. So
well, I heard your story today when you were interviewing Erica about your motorcycle and about your 18th birthday. Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Motorcycles and me go way back. I'll be on your podcast. We'll talk about it sometime. Yes. But I mean, it's a whole story that I'm hearing about you today. But man, yes. But I moved here in 98, and I wasn't coming here. I was on my way to move to California and ended up here instead. Were you moving here? Because I think you said you moved here for a job, right?
I did, for a job. But I was also offered a job at this point in my career. I was working for a paper company, and that's a whole other long story, but they manufactured products for the beauty industry, but other industries as well. But paper, it wasn't so glamorous and exciting. My early career was in the fashion industry, and I worked in Bloomingdale's in the buying office of cosmetics. So I was a young gal, and I said, someday I'm going to do this, meaning a line of something. So because I'm deep in the heart of New York and New Jersey and Connecticut and Texas, I'm a creative. And so at the time that I was asked if I wanted to interview for this job with Alcon, I also was asked to interview for a job in California. Now this is the late 80s. I loved going to California. But California, when I came to Texas, I saw that California really had, even though it was very different, it had some of the negatives that New York had, which was high taxes, high cost of living, and that type of thing. And so when I studied the cost of living and what I could get here from a home standpoint and other things, I said, let's give this a shot. Never thinking, like you, that I would probably live here the rest of my life, no state income tax at this time and things like that. So
yeah, it's a plus here. Just saying.
Just saying. So,
I mean, I find it interesting, because you've come from the Northeast and ended up here in Texas as well as I have, and that fascinates me because I love it when I hear that story. But you come here, all right. You started in Fort Worth, but now you're down closer to Austin.
Yes.
And when you went down to Austin area, did you find you kind of fit into Austin more than you fit into, like, say, the DFW Metroplex?
The answer.
It's kind of two different types of people.
The answer to that.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I lived in Fort Worth, and Fort Worth is a different animal than Dallas.
Yes.
But back in that time frame, very different. So I really did not fit into Fort Worth in the social circles because I was a single career gal. That really wasn't, my daughter went to Trinity Valley, so I knew some of those folks, but it just wasn't, but I also was very busy in traveling. So it was fine. It was fine. But when I moved down to this area, I could have absolutely developed this business. I'm talking about the spa. This was now in 2005. So this area has changed a lot in these years as well. I could have gone to Austin, but in studying the demographics of Georgetown, I felt it was a very good fit for the future because it's right on 35. Georgetown has a university, Southwestern. Also, Sun City was here. So an age-restricted community. And at that time, it was 7,000 homes. Now it's over 11,000. And also, you mentioned the chamber. I had the president of the chamber in those days, probably the same guy you interface with, shared with me that the state had already funded the toll road to start in San Antonio and end in Georgetown. So that spoke volumes to me because I moved to Fort Worth in 87 rather, and I saw the growth because of that DFW right in the center there, the growth of that metroplex.
Yeah.
So I said, this Georgetown, it would be probably better for me to be a big fish in a small pond than because Austin is spread out all over the place. Where do I go? Do I go to Westlake? Do I go to Lakeway? Do I go downtown? So that's why one of the reasons I came to Georgetown. And I'm right on the historic Georgetown Square. So It's really cool. Yeah.
So that brought up another interesting question for me. There is that is, you studied your demographics. Like, you know how many people in business don't? I mean, talk to me about the study getting in to go, okay, I know I'm going to do this in business. Let's find out where those customers are. Tell me about that.
It's critical.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's critical. I mean, how can you take, a dart and throw it and not see that those rings there? You have to understand, not only the center, but how it spreads around. And it is absolutely critical. For instance, when I started this business, I had a business plan, and in that business plan was to absolutely have medical aesthetic treatments. But in 2004, when I personally came here as an esthetician, took a one-room studio, still lived in Fort Worth, but built the brand here, so to speak, with paper advertising and the like. But I knew it was not time. The economy had not gone, dropped yet. But I knew that Georgetown, population-wise, would not sustain purchasing lasers and the like. So I launched it as a luxury day spa. And so I watched the growth and the demographic growth, because again, it's not just the age-restricted community that has been part and parcel of growing this. It is the whole dynamic of that, like I said, a bedroom community. So as more and more people moved out of Austin to buy their home here, I'm talking about 30s, 40s, 50s, it was time then, after the economy stabilized, like in 11, 12, it was time to then venture forth and add the medical aesthetics to this business. So it's key to know who and what. That's marketing 101, right, Tim?
Yeah.
Who and what you're marketing to. It's critical.
Yeah. So in this time in your marketing, and you said you've mentioned here too, you've also got the skincare line. So you guys are doing some right now. You're still shipping out at this point, right?
Yes,
do you
we
ship
are.
everything from the spa there, or do you have a warehouse or something that does that for you?
It's a great question. The answer to that question is the same gentleman that I met years ago when I first put my first brand together, Glycolique, in 1992. He worked for the lab that manufactured that product for me. Then he left and started his own business. And so when I re-engineered Glycolique in 97 and launched Novita, which means new birth, new life, always something new, he had his own business. For many years, I had a warehouse in Fort Worth, even though I moved down here. And then when it was time, for many reasons, to move it down here, I did. Evolved again. And so in the probably 13, 14, I asked him if he would be interested to manufacture, but also warehouse and ship, fulfill, basically. And so we have had that relationship now since around 14, 15.
Okay, cool.
And so he, though, is closed.
Oh.
So the good news, meaning manufacturing. So the good news, though, is that the week before, and I'm talking about a grace from God kind of thing, I, for whatever reason, I put in to fulfill a large order for here. So we still have a decent inventory, even when the doors open. Okay. Now, it won't last forever, but we're able to sustain it right now. And so I am the warehouse shipper, and I bring the orders over to FedEx.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, and in this time, it's how many times I've talked to people doing these interviews that they're having to do a lot more than what they normally do.
Yes.
And it's, you know what I mean? Those are the people I think that are going to still be more successful coming out of this.
Yes.
Because you understand the fact that I know every part of my business. Doesn't necessarily mean I do all the grunt work, but it does mean I know every part of my business on case. Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and it's great. So, and yeah, because you're seasoned like me. You've been around the block a time or two. You're like, I've got to try to prepare for this. But what weren't you prepared for? Can I ask that question?
Well, I would say it would be let me say it this way. If this went on 2 months, financially, I didn't have enough socked away.
Okay. Yeah.
Now you see behind me this regenerative stem cell therapy.
Mm-hmm.
I launched that in 2019.
Okay.
And because I'm the poster child, I injured my left knee for the last time,
Mm-hmm.
and I needed a knee replacement. But I did a lot of research again. I'm a researcher, and it was 60-40. 40 that didn't work. It was too high.
Mm-hmm.
And also doesn't last forever. So you had to have another surgery down the road, and your knee is toast. It's just plastic and metal. So I said, that does not sound like good options. So I looked into regenerative stem cell therapy, had 1 cc in my left knee, and I have a new knee, literally.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I need to bring this to you.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we're a medical spa and I have a medical director and, nurses do inject, fillers and Botox, this was a different animal. Well, anyhow, the reason I share that is that the week before, the 2 weeks before we had to close, I had to, they canceled. So I lost a lot of business. And so I never expected this to happen.
Yeah.
And so had those happened, we would have been fine. But it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So that is what has, people have asked, have I taken a stimulus loan? No, because I don't want a loan. I just want to get the doors open.
Yeah.
I want to get the doors open and get back into business,
And Megan, I think this way. Maybe you do too. I mean, you can tell me yes or no. It doesn't matter. But I want to ask. All right, my wife and I are along the lines of, how can we use this time to make us think how to make more, how to do more, rather than, hey, help me. Are you that type person too?
Precisely. Yeah. Well, I just said it. Yes, yeah. I don't want to. No, I've never been. I've always been. I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but basically, I have always been 100% owner of this business, these businesses. And because whenever I've looked to take on partners,
we did not.
It was just not the right fit. So, and that's the same difference of taking long, heavy-duty lines of credit. It's, and maybe I'm not that's not my expertise, Tim, and I'll be very, transparent with that. But I didn't, at this juncture, I wanted to not do that, and I wanted to, like you said, control cost and raise sales, increase sales.
Yep, that's exactly it. I love it. I mean, and I love the people who are thinking like that, and you're probably seeing it down there in Georgetown. I'm seeing it in our local community here, that people are just going, okay, what can we do? All right, you know what I mean? This is temporary. What can we do to get through it? And I love that thinking. So yeah, I'm so proud of you, and I'm glad you're thinking the same way.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Megan, when this lifts, all right, what are going to be some of the early promotions and things that you're going to do, and you're going to want people to know about, who maybe at that time are going to be listening to podcasts like this, that you're going to want them to know to come find you and do things with you?
Well, one of the things I shared is that I did research on the regenerative stem cell. So I didn't just say, hey, I'm going to do this. That would have been ridiculous because I didn't know enough about it. So again, I researched and I uncovered Dr. David Green. He would be great on your podcast.
Yeah.
And he's a retired orthopedic surgeon. And he opened a pain clinic first. He's a young man, but he got tired of doing surgery and having people like the 60-40 of my knee. And so he started a pain clinic, and he started doing research in regenerative stem cell therapy. So he started doing it there in Scottsdale, Arizona. Okay. So he then recognized that it was time to take it out so practices like mine or others could add it to their existing practice, but they needed education. And so I met Dr. Green in November-ish of 18, shortly, 2-3 months after I had the procedure. And then we joined forces, and he comes monthly, Tim, and does seminars. But I've gone to here in Georgetown, Texas.
Yeah, cool.
And we do 2 here in this boutique there I'm sitting in, 20 chairs set up here. And then we also go out to Sun City. But the thing I have learned over the last year, that it's not just for people, let's say 60 and over, broken down Chevys. It's for people who have been, let's say, runners or very physical weightlifters and have screwed up their shoulders, or, were in football and baseball and so forth in high school and college. And so now more and more people of that demographic and age are coming for regenerative. And so right before we had to close, I hired someone to help me go out to chiropractors, to physical therapists, to other, people that are not doing this, to raise their consciousness of why this would not take away from their business, but add to their business and practices. So I'm going to be cranking up this a lot because we do other things. I don't want to take up the time with educating on, but Dr. Green's going to be on my show on Wednesday, by the way.
So make sure we mention that show. When is it? What is it again?
It's going to be the Face Facts, the Unique Leader podcast. Okay. So
I'm making sure my people hear about it.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's a must because, it really is about, and I'll tell you this, it's about sharing correct information and dispelling misinformation. And post this COVID-19 and all the coronavirus dynamic is that more and more we're all consumers, are going to be really looking for alternative health and wellness and to help build their immune systems. By the way, we have an infrared sauna here, Tim, and it has been published that heat kills the corona virus.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, there's going to be a lineup in this. We only have one. And so it's already popular, but it's going to be running overtime. I might be open on Sundays. We're not open on Sundays, but to help build their immune system. So, it'll be business as usual we call it a hybrid, this business, because it looks like, it feels like, it smells like a luxury day spa, which it is, but it's also a clinical medical wellness spa.
Okay.
So the glue of all of that are the products tying it together, home care. So,
well, you mentioned some interesting things that I'm seeing in this, and this is weird vision of Tim, I guess you could call it, but some people are, they're saying some of the things that might come out of this is, you mentioned you take Sundays off, and I'm saying that, one of the things I think might come out of this, is we might finally see that, we need to take a day off and spend time with family. And it being the fact that you're in health and wellness, what's your opinion on that?
Well, the reason I have always ascribed to that is for many reasons, but one is spiritual, meaning to just the word of God says, 6 days and take the seventh off.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I mean, the whole world was closed down on Sundays. But the other reason, plain and simple, for a business position is that I can't work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then nor can my staff. So I would have to gear up with a whole different staff, kind of skeleton, but regardless. And it just never was attractive to me. But I'm not saying forever, but again, if people need to come in and be in this, we can all work it out, that type of thing.
I'm seeing it because, you hear people now talking about, well, the sky's never been clearer, the things, and they're like, because we took a break. And I'm like, do you think maybe that, when we were kids, we took Sunday off?
Yes.
That maybe that's something that should come out of this. And I
think so.
I thank you for your opinion on that, because it is. Everyone's got an opinion about that. And I, especially since you're in the health and wellness age, I thought maybe they might have an opinion on that.
Yeah. I think everyone, regardless of this business, everyone should not work at the breakneck speed that they were previous to this. And I've heard many people say that, meaning, like you said, people that are, on stages, all, doing a keynote speaking. And I was listening to Sharon Lecter the other day. She and Lisa Copeland are doing a fabulous book study, I guess, on Outwitting the Devil on Wednesday at 2. And Sharon said, that 75% of her time was traveling to go to different stages and different conferences and that type of work. And she's rethinking it because, again, look at you and I. We didn't know each other, but now we do.
Yeah, yeah.
And this will connect and connect and connect, and we will be able to touch so many more people than if I was on that. And that's truthfully one of the reasons why I stopped selling to wholesale distributors back in the 2004, 5, 6, because I was tired of traveling every week in and out of DFW airport.
Yeah, yeah.
I just had it. And the other reason was that the guys and gals that owned those distributors, we were pretty much in every Matrix and Redken hair care product line houses throughout the United States. But they were all my age or older, and their families had owned these businesses. And when Matrix and Alberto Culver, who owns the Sally stores, came a-calling, they sold out. So when your CPA, who was in Flower Mound, said to me, Megan, this isn't working anymore. And what he meant by that is all those shows and traveling, because these publicly traded companies were not furnishing show orders. They were just taking stuff from the warehouse. But the show order is what paid for doing the show. Everyone's travel expenses and so forth.
Yeah.
So I've pivoted quite a few times, kiddo, and analyzed what was working, what wasn't working. And, with the tools that I have, made those changes. So I'm always looking. And that's why I saw this time as an opportunity to start all of this podcast work. Yeah.
Well, and I hope you can carry the podcast on past this. I really do, because I love seeing people create content. Again, that's what I do. So I love it. But for the people who are watching and listening, and they may not be in Georgetown, all right, they may be around the world. What personal advice would you give to them at this time, from your expertise?
I would say, and this is not from a skincare spa, I'm just talking about from business to business, and just human to human, is that because I've been through several major pandemic tsunamis myself, and I'm talking about personally that was applicable to my businesses. And if I had stopped, I would not be sitting here today talking to you. I would just absolutely not. So if you have a dream, goal, and desire, this is a perfect time to start taking notes, writing down things, thinking it through, listening to people like Tim and hopefully myself and others that, like you said earlier with Erica, that there are so many online courses that are amazing, amazing. I'm staying up too late listening to a lot of them, and so you can glean so much information. I mentioned Sharon Lecter and Lisa Copeland. That is just a wonderful opportunity for this time, such a time as this. But I would say, get ready and start on some level. Start. And then don't stop. If that's really your passion and your talent, then don't stop. Just start. Because when I started Glycolique, I was so undercapitalized. I had no idea what I was really doing from a business position. I just knew I had the passion to create and then launch it. So I would say, just get ready, start, and then just take that first step, because the second and third step will be revealed to you.
It's almost like I don't know if you're into the Indy Jones, where he said just take the step, and anyway.
I have watched those movies. Yes, yes.
But there's one of those things where he said, take the step in faith, and the path will appear in front of you. And I've not watched
Indiana Jones and me. Hello. Yes.
All right. Well, Megan, if people need to get a hold of you or want to find you online, where would they go?
Well, first I want to share that you can go to novitasspa.com. And Novita, as I said earlier, means new birth, new hope, always something new. And NOVITASPA.com. But I do want to share one more thing, Tim, before we end, is I wrote a book, and it was published in December, and it went to #1 on Amazon January 4th.
Awesome.
And it is called Hope and Possibilities Just Over the Horizon. It's never too early or too late to create the life of your dreams. And it's my story, basically, but it is now free. And that's one of the things we did do is we put it on the website because it's a perfect time. It's an easy read. It's kind of a mid-century modern girl story. And it's not, it's not necessarily just my story, but it's a point, a timeline of New York during the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Yep. And that's at no charge on the website.
Do you have a copy there that you can hold up on the camera, or does your assistant have one there?
It's just on Kindle.
Just on Kindle? Okay.
Yes. Okay.
So go to the novitaspa.com. NOVITASPA.com, right?
Absolutely.
All right. I want to make sure they get that. All right. And please go visit Megan. Check her out. All right. If this interview has inspired you guys, all right, come on. She's going to be even more inspiring when you go check out the website. True.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So I don't know if you've watched the show, Megan. You said you have, but you know what I mean? I like to close out my show with a little game. Have you heard about my game?
Well, as I said, I've watched your game for game. Okay. I'm ready.
All righty. I love it. So I put these 8 or 9 questions together. You pick which one matters to you, and we're going to just go through them. And I know some of them are probably going to spur some more conversations, and let's just have a good time with it.
Okie doke.
So I start this one off. I don't know if this is you, but I always like to start it off. It's like, Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Were you big into them, or is it just something like...
Yes and no. Not big into it, no. But I don't remember ever watching Star Trek.
Yeah,
I'm aware of it, very much so. But I have not every Star Wars movie, but most I have. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. So would you rather live in the city or the country, Megan?
That's a great question. I would say that I like to live outside of a city, but not in country.
The suburbs.
Not Berber, but where there is some land, but not, you know what I mean? Not Archie Bunker, Queens, or, but where you can have little land.
Yeah, okay.
But near a city, always near a city.
Yeah. So my next one here is my health food, or not. Hamburger or taco?
Taco.
Taco?
Yeah.
That's the one thing we have in Texas that's better than anyone you can get in New York. I'm just saying.
Just saying. Couldn't agree more. Yes.
Now, pizza, they do pizza in Brooklyn that is by far better than anywhere in the world.
Pizza and bagels. Yes.
Yes. Oh, that's what I should have put on you. I should have had pizza or bagels for I didn't think
Bagel.
Tim's got to update his list there.
Bagel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So would you rather read a book or listen to a podcast?
Back in the day, I was an avid reader, but I'm trying, and that's another goal, is to read at least 10 pages of a book every day. But I watch a lot of podcasts. So at this moment, I would say podcast.
Yeah, I'm getting more and more into podcasts. In the beginning, I was reading books and like audio books. I was like, now I'm getting more into them too, So yeah. I kind of know this one, East Coast or West Coast?
I would say East Coast, even though I haven't been to the West Coast in a long time. It's beautiful, but I'm an East Coast girl, yes.
You like the Long Island beaches and stuff too? Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Grew up there, yes. Yeah.
How about beer or wine?
Wine, not a beer drinker.
Have you been down to down to the hill country to the wineries?
Over the years, yes. Fabulous.
We've got some good wine in Texas.
Very much so. Yes. Very much so.
Yeah.
But so does Long Island. Long Island has some the East Coast has some interesting wineries.
We had one in the Poconos that I remember going to as a kid that, that mom and dad knew about. So yeah, I remember that. But I love, since going to Texas wineries, I'm falling in love with Texas wineries. So my next one here is kind of interesting. How about ice cream or watermelon?
Oh my God, ice cream. 100%. I like watermelon, occasionally, but I love ice cream.
Oh, and do you have a favorite shop or a favorite brand?
Well, you asked about wine, you asked about ice cream. About a year ago, I have really stopped drinking as best I can.
Yeah.
Not totally, but as best I can, and meaning consciously, I guess I should say. And I haven't had ice cream in a long time, but I love ice cream. So I can't say, but back in the day, Carvel soft ice cream, my fave.
I remember the Carvel stores up north too. Yes. And we have like the Tasty Freezes up there. You remember those? Yeah.
Yes.
Down here, everybody's into Bluebell out of the carton.
Yeah.
Not that it's bad or anything, but I'm talking about those ice cream stands were the bomb, man.
The bomb.
Yep.
People just have no concept, right, Tim?
Yes, they don't. They have no idea what we had in the Northeast. It was just so good.
Tom Carvel all the way. Yes.
This next one can create wars if you have it. All right. But some people like it one way, some another. Toilet paper, under or over?
I had to study toilet paper because I knew you were going to ask me this. So it's over. Over. Over.
So it was never a war, though. Like, you know what I mean? I've seen some of the calmest people when I ask that question, Megan, they get defensive.
Well, I have to tell you a funny story about it at the spa.
Yeah,
I had a fabulous spa attendant, Shelley. And Shelley was not educated in over or under. And so I said to Shelley when she first started working here, which was 2015, I said, Shelley, always put the toilet paper this way. I showed her physically. And she looked at me like I was from planet Xenon, like, why do you care? And I said, well, it just looks tidy, neat, presentable. It is this way. Now, there are many times that she has over these years forgotten to do. So I'll go and switch the toilet paper.
Of all the things that I could talk with on a luxury day spa owner, toilet paper is the conversation.
Well, that shows my personality too.
Yeah. So my last one is kind of a personal preference, boxers or briefs.
Oh, Jesus. I have no idea. I don't wear either.
We were wondering if you wore either.
So I guess I'm going to leave that up to the choice of the owner.
Okay. So
okay.
We're not all that bad. I mean, we had some fun on here today. You gave me some great education about what you do and how you help people. I thank you for that, Megan.
My pleasure.
So,
truly my pleasure.
Again, tell them your website one more time so let's make sure everybody can come find you who listens to the podcast.
Well, I'm going to share also because you've kind of struggled with this. Most people say Novita, like Velveeta.
Yeah.
I don't really care what you call us, just call us. So, but if we were in Italy, it would be Novita. So it's NOVITASPA.com.
Oh, wow. So guys, go visit her website. Get the free book. Why not? All right. Now's the time to find out the free books. All right. And it's a great reading. And I'm looking forward. I'm going to go download it myself now.
Good. Good.
Thank you so much for Megan for coming on the show today, taking time out of your schedule. I know right now you're trying to get podcasts up and doing things. And I appreciate you spending time with me today. And thank you for letting my audience know who you are.
Well, thank you, Tim. Really, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Tim Gillette Show. All right. Well, we'll have another great guest. Have a good day, guys. See you next time. Bye.